previous to the dog jumping up before I put the dog down. When did you start recording? When did you start recording, Jeff?
Just now. Are we ready? I didn't even ask. I should have. Welcome to Everyone Racers, a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture. It doesn't matter what kind of Lemma Champ or Lucky Track Dog League you run, SCCA or NASA, we won't discriminate. Just as long as you drive it hard and built it yourself. Join us each week for tech discussion, tips, tricks, news and notes in the world of amateur endurance racing, and whether it's on the spot, hella sweet, or we're lucky enough and Chrissy gives us just the tip, we're sure you'll giggle a little and learn even less. Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mental.
He had to pause for a moment to put the dog down.
Of course.
I'm fighting a chihuahua.
And we are Everyone Racers. Thanks for coming back and listening to an Antonov An-178 episode of our podcast. That is a big Russian big-ass transport plane, kind of like a C-130, but not from the 50s.
And bigger.
So, yeah, probably. They're all bigger. And if you're not driving a car or drinking Faygo Cola at this exact moment, then don't forget the E1R bingo card.
Faygo Diet.
Diet Faygo. Got it.
Diet Faygo. It's when you want to be a, never mind, a juggalo, but you're not that hard.
You're a juggalo, but you're watching your waist. Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going with that.
Yeah, well, aside from drinking Diet Faygo, what else are you working on, Jeff?
So sit down for a moment because I'm gonna spin a little bit of inside Jeff's brain.
Okay.
Gather around, kids. Gather around the TikTok while the hipster tells us.
That's true. I usually trust what Chris tells me, but I always must verify. So this happens when I'm driving the race car and I'm like, there's wires sticking out of the hood. And he goes, no, there isn't, Jeff.
No,
there's no wires there.
Don't come in. Don't come in. I'm coming in.
It eats me alive and I have to come in. So there's this 30-foot wall in my house. It's like 29.3 inches or whatever it is. And it is speckled with like texture material. And in the middle of the rain, in the middle of the ice storm we were having here, I said, I bet you I could scrape that, skim coat it, and sand it all myself. Because the price that I got from the painters was too damn high.
Take the drywall off. Just take the drywall off, put new drywall on.
Oh, that's literally what we did.
The job is done. My arms and my legs are a little bit beefier now because of it. But I think I did a pretty good job. I went from the shittiest texture wall on the planet to looks like that guy got a little lazy in his sanding and didn't finish it like 1,000%.
So did you scrape it or demolish and replace?
I scraped it, which it was covered in a couple of coats of paint. So there was no like softening it, which is when every painter said, no, we're just going to put drywall right on top of that. We're not even going to take that one down. We're just going to drywall right on top of that. And I said, but my house will be 3/4 of an inch smaller. And then they showed me the price of that. And I said, no, hell no.
So that's the part you're precise about. The losing 3/4 of a square inch of floor space.
It had something to do with the 3/4 of an inch. It had to do with the multi-$1,000s that they wanted to charge me to do it.
Right.
And I, Chris, go ahead and say it. What is the best tool to do drywall?
A checkbook.
I did not listen.
You got to find the right person, though. You didn't have the right one. You got to find the immigrant who works hard. Up here, I was old French Canadian man. Down where Mental is, they're all Mexicans. Where you are, you could get anything, right?
Yeah, they're mostly Spanish-speaking gentlemen.
Eastern European.
You get a lot of Central Europe. Yeah. Eastern Europeans are great. And then a lot of Central Americans. And that's not racist. That is a comment on the work attitude of non-Americans.
Yeah,
totally.
They're mostly South Americans and Islanders here. So,
right. But their work ethic is far beyond anything you would normally find. For an American.
They're going to take our jobs is a lie. They're going to take the jobs that we're too lazy to do.
And they're going to do them better.
They're going to do them better.
And they're going to be happy to do it.
So I have decided that drywall dust is the worst white powder that man has ever invented, and that's
you don't
only
have the
because-
vacuum
You don't have the vacuum attachment?
Oh,
no, that's a shame.
and
You're going to be cleaning it up for a year.
oh no, it's done. It's done. It's cleaned. I stayed up till like 2-3 in the morning each night and cleaned. You're
when
right,
did this
Mental.
happen? Well, and when did you do this?
We had a 3-day weekend. I scraped we started scraping Saturday morning.
You've probably got one more day of blowing it out of your nose.
Oh, no, definitely. And I still have one more. I still have to do the kitchen. So the kitchen was covered, but still, that stuff gets in all the cracks. So that's what I'm doing and will be doing for the next couple of days. Mental, what you doing?
So we, as I posted on our Instagram, had a bit of a windstorm, knocked out the power. So we have been doing that. It was a great meme on the local Vegas Reddit page of the tiny little airplane from The Mummy with the giant sandstorm, and someone wrote on it, "My trash cans." That happened. Absolutely. So we, driving around, finding all my trash cans. We lost power until Sunday morning. I did, however, after the wind completely knocked it over, got the bed of my Toyota back up on its mounts and then put it actually on the truck itself. So the truck is now one piece.
Bolted on, or is it just resting there?
It is. The bolts are not tightened, but the bolts are through the mounts. So it is where it is supposed to be. Threaded. Yes. And I had to do that because I had to get to the gate, which is on the opposite side of my house. If you guys remember, we had bushes there, which dug those up. So now that gate is fully functional. I broke the lock. There was a bolt through it. So now the gate opens and closes, and I put a new lock on it. And I had to do that because tomorrow the construction dumpster comes and parks next to my house, because this weekend is demolition on the roof. Yay. So thank God. Yes, exactly. So I also had to relocate a flower bed to the other side of my house. So I'm, filling up a wheelbarrow, moving all that kind of nonsense. And then pertaining to this week's topic, I have been looking on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist for the better part of a year for the right pair of aftermarket seats for the Toyota. Right now it has this old ancient pair of Corolla seats. And if you hit them, dust still flies up on there.
They're pretty gross.
I looked under them. The guy did it. He mounted them properly. We'll talk about that in a second, but there's, grade 8 hardware, a giant piece of extra metal, and the bolt goes through all of that. But I found this set from a local Mustang guy, and it kind of matches the paint on the Toyota. So knowing that eventually I'm going to pull those old seats, I went ahead and ordered new carpet. And because I'm putting in new seats and the truck is a 78, Chrissy will be happy to know that I went onto seatbelts.com and ordered brand new 3-point proper harnesses so that I won't die.
Congratulations.
And yes. And then yesterday I pulled a Jeff in the Mercedes. So
what?
We had a 4-day weekend, and in anticipation of the 4-day weekend, on Thursday we knocked off half a day and had just a physically distanced cookout at my squadron. And my wife made her very famous cheese dip, so the beefy cheese dip in a crock pot. And some of the contractors had to work on Friday, so we left all the food for them so they would have stuff to do. And so I took it home on Tuesday. And normally when I put things in the Mercedes, it's not a 5-seater, it's a 4-seater, because the rear seats are proper. And I use the front seat to hold things, so it doesn't slosh around. Forgot to do that. Got a little aggressive on my merger. Hot beefy cheese dip into the floorboard of the Mercedes.
Ooh.
Did you have the rubber mats in still, or did you put the carpet ones back in?
The rubber mats, I don't need rubber mats, so they're sitting on the shelf.
You do now.
Today you did. You do need them for Wawa soup or cheesy beefy cheese dip.
So I went to there's a car wash that I hear the car washes, they sell memberships. So like in the summer, I'll wash my car 3 times a week. And I pulled into my local car wash membership and used their vacuum to get the beefy cheese dip. And then I'm using my shop
too.
vac.
No, it's not going to happen.
And then, so then I got that, and then, hit it with the Armor All and everything. I still got to use our rug cleaner on my floor mats.
Forever.
Pressure washer. Pressure wash the floor mat.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Car wash. What's wrong with that?
And we bought one for our pool when we drained the pool and we're cleaning that up and getting that ready. I do have one that'll be perfect for that.
Did it go under the seat?
It Probably. Did not. I managed to contain it just in the floorboard.
It really doesn't matter if it goes under the seat because you're never going to see that part anyway.
No, but if there's cheese under the seat.
You people, you're so concerned.
Okay, quick 1 minute story relating to dairy products hiding in cars. In 1992 or so, my dad's 1991 LS400 was a very nice car at the time. A cooler chipped over in the back of the car, and some milk came out and spilled in the trunk, and he cleaned it up. That was it. No, the car smelled terrible. So he brought it to Lexus. Lexus tore half the car apart. They had the whole HVAC system open. They were putting stuff through it. They were doing everything they could to try to figure this out.
Oh, because they didn't know? He didn't say, oh, yeah, I spilled milk in the trunk. He just said, it smells smoky, fix it.
Yeah, car smells bad. Fix it. And turns out
Lexus service.
Turns out it had leaked underneath the back seat. Like they took the trunk out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I get that.
But it leaked underneath the back seat, and that's where it was. There was a puddle of, at this point, cottage cheese under the back seat of the car.
Every single father and mother who's listening to the show is saying, dude, we've had toddlers. We all know what this smells like because that sippy cup that kid throws from the back will go under that seat and you'll find it going, oh, the hell smells in my car. You'll yank it out and it will knock you over from 10 feet.
Or more often is you're giving somebody a ride to lunch, and I haven't had that experience. I've been the guy getting a ride to lunch. I get somebody's car going, dude, dear God, what is that? And they're like, I don't smell it. What are you talking about? Because they've gone completely nose blind. Yep.
Oh boy. Chris, do you have a story that doesn't involve smelly dirt
dairy products?
Dairy products?
Yeah. We went this weekend. We decided we went to go cross country skiing. There's a lot of snowpack here, and we were looking for a quarantine appropriate activity where we're away from people and we're outdoors and something active. So we rented some skis. I haven't done this in 30 years. Chrissy's never done it, but we did. We did it 2 days, and we had a good time. Still a little sore, but had a nice time doing it. So that was great.
I have to say, I was watching on Facebook of you cross country skiing while I was applying spackle to a wall with a paint roller, going, I should have done that instead.
Yeah, much better.
It was a lot of work. It was hard.
But we
were pretty sore, but you made a lot of distance, so it felt like you were accomplishing something.
Cool.
Yeah. It was good.
While we were out there, we were not too far from where the storage garage is, so we went and grabbed the seat and belts from the Civic. So the belts actually all that's going into the Z, because the seats in the Z and the Civic are almost the same. They're both OMP HTE Rs. One of them is the 400 model that was in the Civic, and then one of them is the regular one. The difference is the regular one has bigger head bolsters, and the 400 has smaller ones. So I'm putting the one with the smaller bolsters into the Z because that car has some fitment issues with it kind of curves and stuff.
It does.
So I'm putting that smaller bolster one into the Z. The bigger bolster one is going to go in the Mazda. In the Civic, you can sit in a milk crate for now. Doesn't matter.
You grab the seat and the belts?
Yeah. Where's the Civic going?
So you cross country skied back with a seat on your back?
No.
You missed the.
We drove.
They drove in their car.
We drove in the car.
Amazing.
Oh, all right. I figured you said we were out cross country skiing. I'm sorry.
These are independent. There's a comma in there.
While driving to the place to cross country ski, we were near the Civic garage.
Okay.
Yeah, I am not that badass to cross country
probably-
ski.
Also,
with a
the
race
garage
seat on
is
my
really
back.
far away.
You know what?
Because even if not the distance, but if you guys had had a seat strapped to your back, I'm like, why is there not a picture of that on our Instagram?
Yeah.
That is cool.
It's probably because I knew where you were skiing because I saw it on Facebook.
Well, there's also a picture of them in the back of the Mazda that had the race seat.
I didn't notice
skis
that.
in it.
I didn't notice.
Oh, okay.
That, so.
Yeah, that was on there.
Anyway, Chris, there's some mechanical stuff here I see.
Yeah, more Z wiring because that's a never-ending project. Although it's getting close now, ish. And last night I drew a nice little diagram. I was sitting there staring at the wire diagram for a long time, staring at the wires. Things didn't make any sense. Like a wire that's supposed to be triggered by a relay was hot with the ignition off. Like
That's always exciting.
Yeah.
This is Z wiring or LS wiring?
Z wiring.
Okay.
Stock. This is Nissan. I have no idea why.
Because I think I have the giant poster, don't I?
Yeah, that's only of the engine. This is of the rest of the car supply. Anyway, so I've got the whole factory shop manual on the laptop. So I'm out there with the laptop, scrolling around, like looking at this, multimetering things out, saying, why on earth is this wire hot? Like this wire, like it's supposed to get power from the ECU. And
there's no
gone.
ECU.
Right, it's cut. I'm holding the end of it in my hand. How is this hot? Yeah, coming out of a relay that wasn't even activated. Who knows? But I've got a little diagram for exactly the last couple of wires I'm going to put in, and then that part will be done. And Uncle Dave sent me a chunk of pipe, so I laid Dave's pipe in the upper radiator hose of the car to finish that upper hose off. And really, this is the weird motor swap stuff. Our upper hose is part of a Ford Focus hose and part of some sort of Hyundai hose that we had for the first K-swap radiator in the Civic. Just bits of those two hacked apart with a piece of pipe between them, and it just barely clears.
The clearance between the accessory pulley system and the fan shroud radiator.
There's no fan shroud.
There's no fan shroud. I'm sorry. The radiator is minuscule.
Yeah, it's tight.
It's tight.
That's with moving the radiator forward.
It's tighter than Mental's Mooshlong pants.
Just about. Yeah, you'll see. Anyway,
the phrase you're looking for is fit.
Yeah, that's it. Anyway, it's in. So somebody worked in a car.
Yay!
Mental did too, actually. So that's good. Chrissy, what did you get up to?
I did that. I did all.
Spent the last.
Oh, I know. We did all of that. I did that. Also, we watched a great movie called One. It's the number, just one. That's it. It provided a great history of F1, but really focused on the 60s to 80s when there was F1 typically ended with at least someone dying every other race. But really, it showed a great deal of how the sport slowly implemented safety measures. So really highly recommended.
Is that the one that talks about it begins with the guy that wrecks a car and the doc clears him to go ahead and keep racing? Is like at the first lap, or about a different documentary?
It's in there. Yes. It's probably the same one. Yes. So, and especially since I'm a latecomer to the lover of F1 because of the Netflix show, I appreciated putting faces with the names that I've heard forever. So yeah.
Where do you get this movie One? Is it Netflix, Apple Podcast?
Prime,
Amazon Prime. Awesome.
Good to know.
Yeah, very good.
Especially since we'll be trying to compete in the Apex adjacent F1 Fantasy League this year. We might even start one of our own. We should.
Yeah.
Notes. I'm going to go first because it's safety related. Chrissy, do you know that the New Jersey State Police is trying to keep you alive, even though F1 might not?
No, they're not really. They're not.
Recent notice from the South Jersey SCCA continues the tradition of the New Jersey State Police interfering in track safety decisions. According to the email, the New Jersey Department of Law Public Safety governs motorsports events. It's Chapter 62 Motor Vehicle Racetrack Regulations. That is a real law. And these supersede all the requirements for any motorsports that is happening in the state. So SCCA GCR, throw that out. Got to do what the state says. So it has been determined that the SA 2010 M 2010 SAH 2010 helmets will not be accepted after December 31st.
Oh,
so
good.
even if your sanctioning body said it's okay, if you're Lemons or AER or any of the other events that are going to New Jersey Motorsports, they're not going to be able to do it.
And Jeff, that's December 31st of 2020.
2020, yes.
The state has already passed.
Yes, the state has already passed. It is already done.
All of the racing organizations that race in New Jersey did send that out going, hey, look, it's
damn Jersey again.
Yeah. Can't pump your own gas.
Can't. So anyway, by the way, the Chapter 62, I'm going to put the link in the show notes. So if you live in New Jersey, you can check it out. If you don't live in New Jersey and you don't care, check it out anyway, because it's going to make you feel better about your state. By the way, these rules are for autocross, HPDE, drag racing, circle track, motorcycle, motocross, demo derby, snowmobiles, and mud hops, according to the law, whatever
none
the
of those.
hell a mud hop is. Oh no, racing is in there too. Road racing.
Oh, okay. I was like, well,
obviously it has to do with us.
Let's start racing mud hops. Apparently.
Yeah, what?
I don't know what a mud hop is, but it sounds exciting.
It sounds like my people. Hell yeah.
How does the state police, just remind me, or for people that don't know, how does the state police regulate?
Oh, they will roll through the paddock and give you tickets.
Yeah.
For things.
But if you give them, if Lemon says, okay, your helmet's okay, and it's not, how is the state police going to say, like, let me see your helmet?
Yeah, they're going to stop and look and make you show them that it's right and give tickets. Yeah.
Do they do that? Have we seen
same thing with the belts?
Not very often, but
the belts and the gas cans. And
a couple of years ago, there was a state trooper in the tower in New Jersey telling the black flag cars just because he didn't like how they were driving, and to come in and yell at them. Seriously.
There was people getting speeding tickets for overspeed in the pits, like real live speeding tickets. Like go to court, get tickets on your get points on your license for paddock speeding. Yes,
serious?
That was at New Jersey Motorsports when they opened. Very bizarre. Who else has a story?
We reported a few shows back about the new global company Stellantis. If Stellantis lasts more than 4 hours, contact your physician. It's the merger of Citroën. Do not check that on the bingo
Very
card.
good.
What?
I looked it
Have
up.
you been practicing?
Yes.
And
he wrote it right there.
In the notes.
And then I adjusted your phonetic spelling to make it even better.
So anyway, they merged with Fiat Chrysler.
saw
Now, Autoblog is reporting that they have officially axed the Chrysler SRT division. Now, before you start up with those dirty frogs are taking our Hellcats, relax. The newly formed company is simply assigning the SRT's former engineers to different positions. They're going to continue to make fast vehicles like the TRX, which is both the most absurd and awesome thing I think available today.
700 and how many horsepower pickup truck?
All of them.
790 something.
Yeah. So to quote a spokesperson, all of the core elements of the SRT performance engineering team have been integrated into our company's global engineering organization. The spokesperson told enthusiast website Mopar Insiders, Dodge will forward on with the development of its next SRT branded cars, but the current crop of V8 power is up in the air. Company boss Tim Kaninskis warned that regulations are killing the 8-cylinder engine. We knew this was coming. Similarly, Jeep will continue to design its high-performance models like the Cherokee Trackhawk, but what's going to change is those designers are actually going to be inside of Jeep, not coming from SRT. So SRT is dead, but performance isn't going away yet. If you look historically at whenever one of these performance divisions gets absorbed and then distributed throughout the company, that is usually the beginning of the end for SVO and some of your other type stuff. Mercedes AMG's managed to keep it straight, but the M division, and then you quickly end up with the sticker package instead of performance package. But now,
keeping those engineers like in one place is important because that's how they do a rail of, chalk dust off of my floor and then go, hey, let's put the V8 in the minivan. Yeah.
Which they should totally do, by the way.
Let's put it into a Jeep Cherokee.
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely certain the TRX was the result of many beers on a Friday. Dude, it'll fit. You should totally do it.
It'll totally fit.
Screw the Raptor.
Send it, yo.
Yeah. Chris, I believe we've got something.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
non-Hellcat related.
Well, we knew that as Honda stepped out of Formula One, Red Bull would be taking over their race engine development because there was an engine freeze so that this could even happen because Red Bull really, really didn't want to go back to Renault, who they burned that bridge earlier.
No.
So,
because those dirty frogs took our Hellcats.
Yep. But now, according to Autosport, Red Bull has revealed that its future Formula engines will take the moniker of the Energy Drinks company as it ruled out selling the naming rights for the powertrain. Previously, apparently they rebadged their engines as a Tag Heuer brand, because they do so many engines.
What?
In their watches, right? They had powered by Tag Heuer. Yeah.
It was when they were rebranding the Renaults.
Okay.
Yeah, right. So, but anyway, Red Bull team boss Christian Horner said it will be a Red Bull engine. So it will be, as Mercedes is a Mercedes. It will be an incorporated part of the car. So it'll be a Red Bull. Yeah, that Red Bull had now begun a recruitment drive to ramp up its facilities. But for those of you out there expecting to see my name associated with them, we could not reach an agreement that let me stay here instead of moving to England. In addition, we found out that a less reliable source told us that they consulted on this decision with the same PR company as Matt Connolly Motorsports.
That's a good joke. It took us a while to get there, but I'm really glad it got there.
It was almost Chris told a story that I'm not really sure where it's going. And then it went there.
It's all right.
All right.
Chrissy?
Also F1 this past weekend, 2-time F1 champion Fernando Alonso was air quotes involved. Air quotes, but they're actually quotes. Involved in a road accident while cycling in Switzerland, according to an official statement by the Alpine F1 racing team. In a pair of articles from The Drive, Hazel Southwell and James Gilboy keep on top of updates in the rapidly developing story. Initial concerns centered around Alonso's missing preseason testing in Bahrain from next month. But following surgery to address his fracture to his upper jaw, the attending medical team was satisfied with his progress. Fernando will remain under observation at the hospital for another 48 hours. I did try to look up where he is, and it sounds like they don't have an update recently. Alpine released a statement saying, looking forward, after a few days complete rest, he will be progressively resuming training. We expect him to be fully operational to undertake preparation for the season. Alpine F1 racing team and Fernando, thank you for your wishes and will issue further updates when appropriate. Wishing him a speedy recovery and can't wait to see him on the track, and link in our show notes.
Awesome. I read Lance Armstrong's book way back before we knew he was cheating. Well, we knew he was cheating, but we didn't know he was cheating yet. And he basically said,
they were all cheating.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
He basically said, if you're a road cyclist, you're going to get hit.
Yeah. Or you
Just
do an
the
endo.
thing.
That's what I'm thinking happened.
No, he car left turned him apparently.
Yeah.
Like he was in front of a shopping center. Yeah, the whole.
All people you hit, you're like, gosh, it had to be him.
Yeah,
seriously.
Do you think it was a race fan? Like he got out, and went, "Oh my God, can I have your autograph?" Oh crap! He gets on his phone.
Quick,
put 100 on Mercedes.
Yeah, or thank God it was in Switzerland, because if it was an Italian that hit him, screw you, Spaniard. Yeah, that kind of.
Upcoming races. Any races coming up?
Nope.
No.
Not for a while.
Recent results. Lucky Dog was at Sonoma. Lovely, dusty Sonoma, just like my kitchen. We were unable to get the entry list beforehand, but Saturday, 76 cars finished the race. First was Door Slammers in their Mustang. They finished 200 laps and finished 1 minute and 48 seconds over Groot 2. Third was Arschloch Rennen.
Thank
Who
you.
was 4 laps back.
Sunday had 3 podium finishers on the same lap. That's so fun. First was Evolution of Speed with 190 laps. They were a mere 1.5 seconds over Groot 2. Those two would edge out Saturday's winner, Door Slammers Mustang, by 33 seconds.
That's good close racing.
That is nice.
Yeah, and speaking of Lucky Dog, they just announced a new 3-race series. They're calling it the Carolina Cup. This mini championship event will consist of 3 Carolina events, twice at CMP and once at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Teams competing in all events via their point system, which is to be announced, will be eligible for special prizes and trophies. And the grand finale CMP in August 21. So you heard that correct. Lucky Dog has added a second CMP race. So that's 3 chances in the East to race with Cassie and the Lucky Dog crew.
That's
if
awesome.
Only they would have one of them a little further north than Carolina.
Why? Because Lemons didn't go back.
Yeah. Hey, Kathy, how about VIR?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
She would be down for that. I bet if they can negotiate that deal, because she loves historic tracks. That's
Mental, hold on a second. Get on your phone. Text her.
I was like, well, hold on. What's happening?
That was for Bill.
That's for Bill. Yes.
Okay. With regards to our last show, Gentleman Dave was on. I'm Mortician Slow. Whatever.
I'm Morton
Slow said, fun fact, dude also makes best pork I've ever eaten out of someone's trunk. Eric K said, love discussion about the removal of roof. I normally would just say yes. Yes, and But I feel compelled to say that even I feel compelled to say that even if you account for the safety aspect, it's likely that you will reduce the torsional and bending stiffness of the car, which will impact your suspension. So a solid no, or is it yes? No.
Yes. Yes. Well,
no. By the way, I just want to say I'm Morton Slow. You probably haven't eaten a lot of pork out of a trunk. Just saying.
How much is an appropriate amount to make you an expert?
I'm saying
Jeff,
there's a lot of people. Now, I don't want to say that Gentleman Dave's pork isn't the best pork out of a trunk, but I've had a lot of pork products out of the rear of a vehicle. It would be really hard to beat soggy. As he is prone to prose, Eric also commented on our Instagram footage of the idling Omega from Ran when parked, quote, "Wow, stirring feeling, oft felt but rarely spoken on such a day. How the dulcet tones warm the subcockle region of my chilled heart, prompting me to swift and drastic action as the heart wants what the heart wants. Be thou not an impediment to my loins." End quote. In his defense, it sounded pretty damn sweet. Check it out on our Instagram. Even Lady A, who we're not sure she has cockles of her heart, had to agree. She said a song could be made from that.
And on the subject of video, we've added a few to our YouTube because apparently Mental was bored. And these are not just long-winded episodes when Chrissy and I are not there. So even our Euro top fan, Erling, even reached out there to say, hey, gang, the 2-year-old recap of Steph, Dr. Florida Man, and hijinks from the Texas rally in 19 earned a comment from the organizers of Commitment. It's not just what gets you to be a ward of the state, but it helps. And on the karting video, Randy B asked, there's no snow. What is this magic? And Bill said, hey, hold a spot for us post-COVID. So this flurry of uploaded activity prompted Josh Jenny to comment, did y'all hire an intern to get caught up or what there? This is Mental as a second semester senior, basically, I think is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. He's looking ahead at his retirement date from the Air Force going, they can't make me work.
What are they going to do?
What are they going to do? Fire me? It'll take them longer to do the paperwork until my retirement date.
I had a 4-day weekend, so yes.
Well, if Jeff ever gets bored, you'll see the video that I shot like 2 years ago of the Miata in the ride section of our YouTube.
Meet the Fleet. We have a channel. We just haven't put anything in it yet.
There's one. The Citroen is there.
Take that back. Yes, thank you. All right. So finally, it's a recent an old instructor buddy of mine, Kevin Bandy. He's Bandy Graham on Instagram. That's just fun to say. And his friend Corey Frunk. Now they reached out to talk about their latest endeavor. Now we're an endurance racing podcast, and if you lean more to the aspect of time or just need more podcasts about amateur racing, and to be honest, who doesn't? May I recommend In the Race. Now, this is Kevin and Corey, their own adventures in track days and sports car ownership. They're attempting to climb the ranks in grid life and some of your other time attack specials. Between them, they do have thousands of hours of track time and driving instruction, work experience with top tier manufacturers. They've both worked at the Porsche Experience Center and Lamborghini and things of that nature. But the big news is that they are building a car to go racing. So it's an excellent source of here's what we did, here's what we did wrong. If you get tired of our ugly mugs or you want to augment our ugly mugs. So tag along as they plan out racing for the first time, reminisce about the very best cars they've ever driven, and share the most helpful advice and information for anyone who might want to follow in their footsteps. So that's the In the Race podcast. Don't stop listening to us and start listening to them, but listen to them too. How many murder podcasts do you really need? More cars, less murder. That's all I'm saying.
You're funny.
I need a decent amount of mystery murder podcasts. I suck at racing. iRacing report. Chrissy.
This last weekend, we had Sebring for a Thunderdome, no pedal, no wheel, trash racing. The evening started with no pedal, no wheel, just a handful there, and annoyingly clean racing. Not good, mind you, just a lack of smashy smash on the club course. Highlight was Randy Bish celebrating Dick Cheney hunting safety day by driving with a measured electrical resistance of an unloaded 1930s shotgun barrel. That was followed by unlimited fast repairs on a a slightly longer circuit, much more fun. Then Gladiator, no damage, much better smashing. Final 2 variants of the trophy trucks and 87 battling with damage turned off. Oh, next week's it's a Funduro at Alton Park, which we were at. An old English circuit with lots of elevation change, and it's really a fun, actually a lovely place.
Yeah, I was sanding, going, I wish I could iRacing right now.
Well, you can give us the report.
I could.
What you missed.
On Monday, while I was sanding, this is the 24 hours after I was sanding previously, in the prep for Sunday, they raced at Alton Park. I should say we, even though I wasn't there. The first race was predictable. The aliens ran away with it. Damn you aliens. Can't you just stick to rectum? Never mind. The second race was distracted.
Damn near killed them.
Exactly. The second race, they were distracted by how far they could launch into the air if you blew through turn 3 and hit the berm over the back straight. Ooh.
You can clear the track pretty nicely.
That's kind of fun. I like Alton Park. We have raced there before.
You'd be coming down the back straightaway, and then just in the peripheral in VR, you'd see a Formula car just looping over your head.
Nice. Don't be like me. Show up Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Eastern. That's when the 2 races are. We typically stick with whatever Lemons is running later in the week so that it's a good practice. If they're doing something stupid, we do something extra silly. Get on our Discord. Ask us for the password. It is a password protected hosted race because we don't want people showing up who don't want to have fun and don't know what's going on, because you will get gigablasted right up the rectum.
Fact.
We usually get a good 20 cars these days. We have a good group and have a lot of fun. And no matter how good or bad you are, you actually will have someone to race-ish with. There's always someone around.
Oh, you know what I found out was the best thing? A Skippy can drive right under Mustangs. I just went.
They are spatulas. They're great. Oh,
it was awesome. Yeah. I was mad at the start of the race when everybody was driving over me, and then I was like, "Wait, I literally could drive under one, go up and over it, and I just kept driving under them." It was
the problem with the Skippy is that when you lose the wings, they just are drift machines.
And or the nose cone.
Yeah, the nose cone and the rear wing. You lose all kinds of grip.
I was like, I think I lost the nose cone, and then Santiago, who's coming up very fast and then past me, was like, "Yeah, the wing's gone too," and I was like, "This is why it's terrible."
But this is, you can actually hold that drift in a Skippy.
If you have the wings on. If you don't have the wings.
You take the wings off, you can just right throttle and just slide ways
You're
through
good
a
at it.
Has anyone else noticed that Wartburger thief Aaron is becoming an alien?
Yeah, it's really annoying. He's had a rig for 2 minutes and he's already way better than I am.
He's just remember how much RC stuff he did for a long time. So he's used to driving a car that's not actually driving a car. This is just better RC. So
you have a little bit more input. Your inputs are a little more impactful, something like that.
I'm going to go with that.
Yep.
You know who doesn't drive RC cars but drives regular cars?
I was going to say, whose movements are always very impactful, but go ahead.
I was going to say, who never loses a nose cone off of her Skippy car? Chrissy's mom. And Chrissy's sister and brother-in-law and everybody else.
It's my other sister who doesn't listen. Tomorrow is her birthday. So happy birthday, Kim, who doesn't listen to the show. But that's okay.
Happy birthday, Kim. Main topic time.
You've got a butt. It's got to go someplace. We here at E1R, we suggest a seat. It's a lot safer than the 5-gallon bucket or the milk crate alternatives, which we've all done. And I've also had the milk crate come out from underneath me and my foot slipped off the clutch and then cars rolling forward while I'm fumbling at the wheel. It seems like a straightforward effort to put a race seat in a car, but it's going to require some planning and forethought. And we want to thank Bill for suggesting this topic. Now, as we always say, check your series rules. Then after you've checked your series rules, check them again. This is a great way to spend a lot of money and then find out you wasted it all. Most series have very similar, if not the same verbiage that describes the seat and its mounting, but here's some high points. One-piece, purpose-built racing seats with properly located, factory-provided shoulder harness holes are mandatory. Not those dune buggy molded plastic seats in your UTV. All seats must be securely mounted to the floor or cage to avoid separation during a crash. We're going to talk about what that means. All seat backs must be restrained against rearward failure. There was a video a couple of years ago of a guy with a set of cheap APC ratchet back seats. He goes off track on a track day and immediately the seat goes flat and he loses any ability to steer the car.
It's like when VTEC kicks in.
Yo, exactly. There you go. If you guys aren't watching, Jeff is leaning back in his chair. Seats with seat back braces. Now, these are permanently attached seat back braces, very strongly recommended, must always be appropriate to the seat type. The plate where the seat back brace meets the seat back must be properly located to encompass the seat's main structural elements and large enough not to push through the seat in a crash or otherwise concentrate loads on the driver. That is a very long way of saying you can't have a spear behind your seat that will go through your chest when you back it into a wall.
Right through your spine. That's a great place.
Right through.
This sounds like a great idea. I'm not really sure why we're saying it's not.
If a seat back brace is not used, a strong seat width element, such as a shoulder harness bar, must be located within 6 inches of the seat back to prevent the seat from failing rearward. I looked through every single one of the series races. That verbiage is in every one of them. And then finally, solid mounting. All seats, including seats on adjustable tracks, which we're going to talk about, must show minimal looseness and no back and forth free play. If your seat is wiggling in its mounts and it gives just a ½ inch and you find yourself planting it into a tire wall at 100 miles an hour, which is very easy to do, and that seat moves a ½ inch, that is a ½ inch of acceleration that you're going to go into those belts. And that's how things get broken, like bones. So
that's why today we're going to talk about the things you're going to need. And another show, we're going to talk about how to put them all together along with the belts, because if we put this all in one show, it would be like if Jeff and Mental were running it. So we're not going to So
it's funny because it's true. One goat.
No, it's been a couple goats now, actually. It's not just one. 4 goats. 4 goats.
Oh, 2 of those goats were sluts. That's you know that. You know that.
They asked for it.
You could check off somebody breaks on the podcast. Go on. I'm tearing.
So first off, you're gonna need a seat.
No,
it seems obvious. You need a seat. There's so many choices. Where do you start? And so many well-meaning young teams go down that path that they find a Kirky on Craigslist. They say, oh, that's going to be fine, right? And then after racing it once or twice or getting failed in tech, you realize why most of the Kirky seats you find are for the drag or sprint race market, because those seats are not comfortable or safe for endurance racing. So we're going to talk about better seats. Don't make that mistake.
Yeah,
no.
Kirkies are miserable after about 20 minutes.
They make some okay, some actually good quality seats, but the ones you're going to find on Craigslist, not those.
No,
I mean, we've been there though. We've done that.
Yeah, most of the show is telling people the mistakes we have made so that they don't do them.
Sure.
Yes. And I remember I had a Kirky in what was going to be a dedicated autocross car. And I'm like, oh, this will be fine.
No.
And for the autocross, it was great. But then I had to drive it to and from the autocross and I would lose feeling in my legs.
Yep. Yeah. Yes. Or you have the Kirky for a big man and you are a little girl. I had this problem.
You're just flopping around in metal there.
When I put the Kirky in the Miata and I put it so low so that Jim would fit under the bar, it was really hard to sit in because like the pedals were higher than your butt.
Your legs were up.
And don't think that we're bad mouthing Kirky. If you are doing drag racing or sprint racing, they make containment seats. They make great stuff.
It's the flat one that you find on Craigslist that came out of a drag car. That's probably not appropriate.
You were doing so well, then you giggle blasted. Okay, let's actually get into the meat of this. Okay, let's talk materials. Okay, there are 3 basic seat material designs. You've got the tubular steel wrapped with foam and fabric. You've got aluminum shells with a removable pad, which is the Kirkies, which is what we're talking about right now. And then the composite shells with integrated foam and cover. There are also street or tuner seats that look like racing seats, but have an adjustable backrest. So this is one of those things, seriously double check. They're not appropriate for actual wheel-driven racing. We recommend composite seats for the most applications as they're the most comfortable and they can have an FIA rating. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. So those aluminum seats, if well designed and built, can be a good choice. Ultra Shield and Kirky, for example, both make good quality racing seats, but you have to find one with the right design elements so that they most of these are not good for us. Exactly what we said. So some of them are made very big, don't really hug you. It depends on how large you are, then it may hug you. But if all of your teammates are not the same size and it does not give you enough support, then you will flop around in them. Yes, Chris, go ahead. It'd be helpful if you were not on mute.
The biggest problem is the headrest and shoulder design. The headrests are not strong enough to actually support your head if you get hit. And if you just lean on it nicely, it'll push.
I think we're going to get there.
Okay.
Thanks. Okay, so we talked about those.
Who wrote this? I don't know.
If you wrote whatever. Okay, so you need to find one with the right design elements, and these don't work for us. So we don't really recommend the tubular steel seats as they're not much less expensive and they're not as comfortable. And usually the bottom mount is hard to keep very low. All right, so let's go into design now. There are three basic designs that you're going to see. Drag race design has no shoulder support and very limited head support, which is kind of what Chris is kind of talking about, except not in that format.
Yeah. It'll just bend. You can grab the top of it and push it hard, and it will bend back. That's how weak some of those are.
This is design A that is happening on this. Yes, Jeff was holding up a picture of the Kirkies and what we're talking about. Don't bother with those on the back. Oh, so this on the back of the seats that you're going to purchase. Make sure that you avoid seats with a single hole for the belts. You need to have one hole for each belt, and one goes over one shoulder, and one goes to the other. So especially so they stay apart, and that's what it should be. Most common design is snug through the legs and torso and flares out to support the shoulders. Newest type of the seat, which provides head support with some wings, which is what Chris was talking about actually before when we were swapping the seats out of the Civic, and they all actually have different setups. That is the wings that come out on the sides of your head to provide more lateral head support. The head restraint type can be both in the composite seats and aluminum seats with add-on brackets. Lastly, seats are either the bottom mount or side mount, which we're going to address in a little while.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Ratings. Chrissy touched on this, but seats either seem to be completely unrated or FIA rated. Now, FIA is the Fédération Internationale de l'Automobile, and it's basically the governing body of major motorsport, primarily in Europe. But as this is really the only standard that exists for seats, it's a good idea to look for a seat that has met those requirements, because then at least someone has been thinking about this stuff. Someone has been trying to make it safe, and the manufacturer has met those requirements. So it's better than, yep, here's a seat, which is basically what the rest of them are. So, some series actually require FIA rated seats that are less than 5 years old. The current standard is FIA 8855-1999, valid for 5 years from the manufacture date. And some of the tests they do for this, and again, they're all side mount seats. That's what they require, which is actually the best kind, because they're going to mount the seat much lower than bottom mounts, which is those tubular steel ones you usually see. Anyway, they do a rear impact of 20 Gs with a 75 kilogram dummy, and do a side impact of 15 Gs with a 75 same dummy, and a rear impact with 10 Gs with that same dummy. So it's, really they're testing that pretty hard to make sure that seat's going to hold up.
I'm doing the math in my head because I'm an American. Kilogram 2.2. Oh, it's kind of a fat guy, actually.
It's big enough, right?
Yeah.
And I always think about that when I'm bolting the seat in. The bolts on those aren't that big. We're going to talk about that, but that's why you want to make sure you use good hardware.
It's actually next. We're going to talk about that next time, right?
We're going to talk about materials this time, but design next time.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So size and fitment. First off here, I'm going to put up on the screen, there are aluminum racing seats that are full containment. So I don't want to say that all Kirkies are bad. If it's aluminum, it's bad. Just,
And that picture Jeff showed is an aluminum seat that has full width shoulder support. It has wings on the head to support you there. It has design elements to give it extra strength where you need it. Like, that is a properly designed good seat, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm. It is also for endurance racing going to be miserably uncomfortable.
Yeah. Not all of them are. Like, Hamza's got one in the BMW,
right, yeah.
And it's totally fine. But it gets a really nice quality seat.
I think his is an Ultra Shield. I'm not sure. We don't get paid by any of these people, by the way. So if we shout out a brand, there is no money coming to us. All right. So size and fitment. Chris mentioned earlier that he's swapping seats from the Honda to the Z. And this is exactly what we're talking about here, because the seat has to fit you, but it also has to fit the car. And every manufacturer that isn't a Craigslist guy trying to sell you a flat back seat will have a size chart on their website, which gives you all the critical measurements. All right. So you take it out, you put it on the roof of the car, and you put your tape measure, and you measure all the little nooks and crannies and cracks and crevices to make sure that, because the back of the seat butt and the front of the seat where your hips are probably two different widths. Where it hits your butt hole and where it hits your hips are two different measurements. So you need to really make sure that it is going to fit in the hole of your car. Okay. So the car is the real crucial measurement, because the width of the seat base on the outside of the rear and the shoulders and all these things, and in the head supports as well. Because if your car curves in at the roof like our Z does, it can really come in on those halos. So to fit yourself there are width measurements for the inside of the seat as well, so you can tell how big the people part of the seat is, and the length of the thigh support, and the height depth of the bolsters. These are all on those websites that show all the measurements. Mental, go ahead.
And every flustered Miata track day owner is yelling at their iPhone right now going, I know, I friggin' know.
I have count them, two seats in my garage right now that do not fit in the hole in my Miata, even though it said will fit Miata. Because it will fit the Miata, it just won't get down into the trapezoid deep enough to clear the bar.
Fortunately, one of those can be the passenger seat for the Z.
They are not fixed back, so.
Oh, boo.
Yeah. I do have the Kirky from the boat.
No one wants that.
It's not.
I won't. No, because I won't get in it.
For a passenger test day, it's not so bad. Anyway,
Three Chrissies could fit in that Kirky from the boat.
I mean, two.
You used to shove your elbows in next to you.
That's right. Because I did, because I would flop around, or the wings were either I had to be outside. I know this is bad podcasting. My arms used to have to be out, like I was holding
like your elbows are poking out like a slab.
Yeah, to be on the outside of the wings, or I had to shove them in on the inside. Yeah, it's terrible.
And look, here's the bottom line: is you need to use all of these measurements and your teammates' butts to see if you can find a balance for the larger people, not to be squished so that they're not uncomfortable, but smaller enough that the people aren't swimming. Chrissy swam in that seat. It was not great for her. I swam in that seat. It was not great for me. But like Hamza, one of the things that he likes about his aluminum seat is he was able to squish it in and bend it in, which you would never be able to do with a composite seat, to fit his extremely small framed wife, because he built that for her. And then I try and get in it, and he says, hold on a minute. And he bends it back out, and then now it fits me also. Go ahead, Chris, you were going to say something? I was pausing for you to jump in. All right, cool. The best advice for fitting you in the seat is you must go try it. And just like with your glasses, you got to try it while wearing your helmet and your neck restraint. If you're going to a race shop, they will have lots of models that you can try out, and you can quickly find out most models of seats come in both standard and XL. And then each designs are also different. So an XL of this model Sparco will not have the same seat size as the XL model of that Sparco. So you got to really try them all. Also, you have to note the other designs that might bother you. Some shoulder supports may not fit your beefy body, but some headrests might push against your head like your prom date did. And some of the thigh bolsters are so high that they're hard to get around. That's what's wrong with my Miata placement, because it pulls your thighs up so much that it actually pinches the back of your thighs. Chrissy, do you remember SEMA?
I do. I'm happy that you're going to talk about this.
I do. So we talked to Warren. Warren is some sort of vice president at SEMA, by the way, or vice president at Sparco.
That video's on our YouTube.
Is it on the YouTube? I didn't even check.
That's great.
Cool. So while we were at SEMA, we talked to Warren from Sparco. We were in the Sparco booth and we were shopping for seats in our Z. And you sat in a seat. You're like, I love this seat. This seat is great. And Warren walked up and he went, no, that seat don't work. Shoulder holes were in a bad position. They were way above your shoulders. And he said in the video, you can see it, that the critical safety fitment element that you can have with a halo seat is the hole placement. This is the shoulder holes that the harness goes through that will get onto your Hans or whatever you're wearing. And very tall or very short people can be in a dangerous situation because the harness holes can cause angle problems or compression problems, or it might have to go up. So that is problem A. And then problem B is the halo can actually press down on some people's shoulders, which make it very hard to get out of the seat because you have to lift your butt out. And if you're hitting the halo with your shoulders, you can't really get out of a seat very easily. So Chrissy in a big and tall seat felt comfortable, but the holes were in a completely wrong place. My brother, who is tall from chrome dome to butthole, in a short guy seat might not be able to get in and out very easy. So the width is maybe less important because it's better for a fat guy to squeeze their hips in than a very tall or a very short person have bad hole placement or become trapped in a fire situation. So you really need to measure all of the elements of the seat. And Chris is absolutely right. The halo is an important part in determining if you're going to be able to exit that car while it's on fire.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's why I try it with all your Hans and stuff on too, because that changes the space that you have in all those areas and things.
And these are all great. A lot of racetracks have on-site race shops, and they're usually run by nerds who are just absolutely happy for you to come in there and sit in a variety of seats. If you have an access to one of the shows, PRI, SEMA, something like, or even just a local show where you can go sit in a bunch of them, that's great. If you can't do all of that, or you've got a limited amount of time, when you're at your next race, after the track goes cold, wander around and see the different seats. I would offer that 90% of racers to be like, yeah, no, hop in there, see if it fits you, kind of a deal. And, well, this is the narrow model, or this is the extra wide model. And it'll start giving you at least a zone when you start dealing with a professional race shop. But in addition to the adjustments, I want to talk about the sliders. Now, they are technically optional. Not so much anymore, but there was probably a time when we in the Three Pedal Mafia could have not run sliders because all of us are close.
We've always had Chrissy to Jim, and that's always been enough of a
which is yeah, exactly.
You know, then Lamito started driving for us, and we had to.
We were technically we're all the same size, ish. You know, comfort is one thing.
Right, we could adjust it with foam, but I love that you said that. Lamino to Jim. If you're a team and you've got a couple of different arrive and drives, because talent comes in all shapes and sizes, sliders are a great idea. So if you don't mind losing the ability to slide the seat forwards and backwards, yeah, go ahead and get rid of them. But it's something to keep in mind. Position you install your seats will be permanent. So make sure you're comfortable with the distance from the pedals and steering wheel before you tighten anything. I put a fixed backed, non-adjustable racing seat in my Boxster from a few years ago, and then sure as snot, about 3 weeks later, found myself out there readjusting it because my initial was wrong. Adjusting the sliders can actually help you get this, or avoiding the sliders can help you get the seat lower, but for endurance racing, you're usually going to want them. So if you can use the OEM sliders in your car, just do it. Make sure that they're quality OEM sliders. Something out of like a Cavalier with like one retention bolt on one side, pitch that garbage.
Most especially newer cars, the OEM sliders, they pass crash tests.
Yeah, your 1976 Buick Omega might not have good sliders.
Right. And some of the ones that might have passed a crash test on an entry level kind of garbage car, just look at how many pins are holding it in place. These are on there. If you can use those OEM sliders, go for it. It's going to need a little bit of fabrication, but this is everything you do in your car is going to mean a little bit of fabrication. If they are just too high or they're unusual or they integrate with just the stock seats, and we've routinely said this, we recommend the Jeep TJ sliders. They pass OEM crash standards. They have 3 retention pins on both sides. It is a lift, so it works on either end. They have positive locking. They are thin, they are flat, they are cheap. We pay usually about $35 each. These are really, really good if your OEMs aren't going to work.
They look a whole lot like the Sparko sells for $100. I'll just say that. Yep.
You know what I really like about them before we get off them?
Yeah.
The adjuster bar, whatever we want to call it, the thing you grab to move things up and back, not only goes on both rails, but it spans the entire seat because it goes both ways. You can find it.
Yeah.
In your race suit.
You reach in the middle and it's there.
It's
there. And it doesn't usually bind. You're absolutely right. Like sometimes you have a hard time. You're like, you can't pull it up. It doesn't usually go. Usually you pull it and it'll latch.
It's an excellent
I completely
design.
agree.
It is a fantastic design. And if you're one of those people that slides the seat forward a little bit, or if you've done some foresight in there, it's a great way to kind of loosen the belts as you're coming into the pits. Slide all the way back. Boom. I'm out.
Totally. So now you got to put this all together, which is going to involve brackets. And the kind of brackets you need depends on what you're working with. So if you are looking at your seat and look for the mounting holes, if the holes are on the side of the seat and the outside of your thighs, you have a side mount seat, which is most of the composite ones. If there are holes on the bottom or the underside of the seat, that's a bottom mount. Aluminum seats can be whatever you want because you just drill the hole where you'd like it. So it really depends on your setup. Side mount will definitely let you mount the seat lower, and that's what all the FIA ones are. So I really recommend looking for that kind of seat. So because of that, and for most of what we're doing, you're going to be using an L-shaped seat bracket for those side mount seats. These are really available anywhere you're going to buy a seat, or Amazon, Pegasus, etc. And for the low price of these steel brackets, even we just buy them rather than making our own. It just saves so much time. Right.
And the little bolt holes are in the right spot, right?
Yeah,
where the composite
it all just works.
Yes.
And we'll talk about how to get these all together and weld it on next time. But really, the vertical part, which is a larger part, just bolts right to your seats. There are usually several holes to allow for different adjustment heights and rakes. So it again, it's a good design part, and it's so cheap. Just do it. The horizontal part of the bracket just bolts right to the floor, or to your cage mounted seat supports, or you bolt or weld it to a slider. But I think they're like $50 for a pair. They're not expensive for what you get, and you save a couple hours of not making them. So unless you're like crazy fabricator, just buy it.
My office chair, I use those mounts for my recycled expired racing seat. That is now my desk chair.
Nice. Awesome. Installation hardware. You're going to have some bolts because you're going to be bolting this sucker in. This does not come with the seats. Do not expect a little Ziploc bag with all the little bolts and things you need. But you need to go out and get good quality hardware here, grade 8 or 10.9, depending on whether you're metric or SAE. And these bolts are
freedom or not freedom.
It's all freedom. Anyway, as these bolts are the only, well, literally, they're not freedom because they're going to keep you from being free from the car when it crashes. So yeah, you want these suckers to lock you up. But anyway, so yeah, they're the only thing holding your butt in the car when you crash. Washers. You're going to need washers to spread the load. Miata people out there, your car is made out of tin foil. You need big ass. Don't even bother with the washers. Just go to plates at that point. All right. You have you have steel hanging around. You're a race car guy. Find that L bracket, find that square tubing, 1-inch bar stock, 1-inch square tubing, angle iron, whatever you have,
Quarter
spread
plate.
the load. Okay. My spreader plates on the bottom of my Miata seat, that is literally a street car, is like this big around, because that's what I had. It was easy to make. And I know that car is made out of tinfoil. That was like 3 inches.
Some of our seat backing plates, I think, are like 20 square inches total. But yeah, they're just whatever you have. But anytime you're going to do this, you're going to need some just general hardware for welding. That's like what Jeff was talking about with the bar stock and the square tubing and the angle iron. You're going to need to weld a tab onto something, or support something a little differently, or make something flat where it wasn't. And
this is not a time to think, oh, I don't need to weld or grind or pound or massage. You need to massage the shape of the car to fit the seat and the sliders and the rake. Rake is very important. Chris mentioned rake really quick, but if that seat back, the amount of rake that's by the way, that's the angle, we should say, that's like the lean of your seat. The amount of lean in your seat can really make a big difference, not just in comfort and being able to reach the pedals like we talked about, but also in seat height, because as you go back, your head goes down.
And we're going to talk about all this next week in fitting seats and making the fab stuff. Mental.
And if this is outside of your ability or your comfort zone, every race series, regardless of how competitive they are, no one wants to see a dangerous race car. So if you are uncomfortable, reach out to your network, reach out there, or, bring chunks of spare steel to the track, and there'll be a team that will absolutely help you weld in those retaining plates and make sure that your seat is mounted safely. Because again, no one wants to see anyone hurt. They want to beat you, but they don't want to beat you because you're dead.
You don't even have to weld in the retaining plates for a lot of things. You can just put a big ass bolt through it, and it'll work pretty well.
You're usually welding something to welding. You're
yeah.
I need a square with a tab with a bend.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, I would be stunned if there was not someone you could go to about a genuine safety question or safety help kind of a deal, because racers are racers.
How many times have we done that?
Yeah. Exactly. And not just with the 3-pedal mafia. I've seen it with Ranwood Park, when I ran with OK Speed. Just there are a ton of just really good people out there that'll help you on that one. And to that end, I think we've covered the main topics, but we're not done. So come back next week. We're going to talk about how to get all of this into the car safely and effectively.
Awesome. This is also something you're going to mess with a lot. Just like Mental said, he put it in, he thought it was right. 2 weeks later, he's moving it. You're going to adjust this probably. So
the reason you want those good brackets with all the holes in them.
Because you're like, that was not the right angle.
No, not that one.
Yeah.
Or when you realize
I don't like it. This seat doesn't work. It's really uncomfortable.
Reach the shifter in the boat when you're in third. It's too
that's
far
a thing.
away.
Yes, it is. When you have to go with your fingers and just push it away, and then you have to kind of grab it back a little. Yep. This is all us. Oh, we're like T-Rex arms. You're trying to shift, and it's over there, but I can't reach it. T-Rex arms. Gosh. So you can all picture what we're doing.
On the spot, hella sweet, Chris.
It's
all you.
It's kind of it could go either way for on the spot or hella sweet, but
okay.
Terrible.
Let me yell hella sweet because I want to yell that.
Okay.
Hella sweet or but terrible. Time.
So I guess this is a two-parter. We're going to combine the both. First off, I'm going to describe a scenario to you. You're then going to tell me if this is hella sweet or but terrible, and then what on the spot? What should I do with it? Okay.
Ooh. Oh, this sounds like something Jeff and I would normally come up with. This is not a Chris kind of thing. This is Jeff and I normally have a bad idea, and Chris talks us out of it. Oh, this is awesome.
Okay. So
I'm so excited.
A very old, very good friend of mine of a long time.
Let's call him Paul.
Yeah, that's true.
Come on! How did I guess?
Great.
We don't have any friends.
He is having his family has some things going on, and his family has owned since brand new a 1984 Chevrolet Corvette.
Oh,
This is
the perfect C3.
The C4.
No, wait,
it's the
that's
first
the
year.
C4. That's the
first
first
year of the
C4.
C4.
Disco
This is
Best.
a one owner, 42,000 mile garaged but heavily neglected C4 Corvette with a Z51 suspension and a Doug Nash 4+3 manual transmission.
Doesn't matter.
And the crossfire injection,
matters.
205 horsepower. Amazing.
Yeah.
Paul is essentially giving this to me mostly because he needs to move it along and he doesn't know what else to do with it, and he knows we'll probably do something stupid with it. So hell is sweeter but terrible. This is the last time I saw this car was probably 20 years ago, and it probably hasn't moved under its own power in 15.
One qualifying question before I answer.
Yes.
Hardtop convertible?
Yeah, it's a hardtop, which is a Targa, that as they were all for 1984.
Hella sweet.
There's only one body style. Yeah.
Hella sweet.
I'm sorry. Wait, you didn't say what color it was.
It's red.
Turquoise.
With a tan interior.
Oh no.
I was hoping it was turquoise.
Tan. Oh my God, red with tan.
Red
It
with
matches
tan.
your
Wait,
MG.
it's not.
And
your
the NSX.
NSX.
Wait, but it's not really red.
It is kind of red. He had a crappy
pinkish.
respray. It was
did
pink,
he?
and he had a
It
crappy
was
respray
pink.
down whenever we were in high school, but it used to be pink. Anyway, so this
This is the king of Radwood.
Oh my God. The other two
Sure.
on the screen are like,
so
you
so
cannot
again,
see how their faces.
hell is sweeter but terrible.
Hella sweet. I already said it. It's got
hella-
3
it's hella-
pedals.
It's a hella sweet.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
Not a
you
rag
guys
top.
Are hilarious.
And then the second part is on the spot of what do I do with this?
Gosh.
Like, he's a good friend. I want to do something with the car. I don't want to just sell it. That's not right.
No,
You
didn't
know.
sell this.
So
It's worth
it's not a car I was going to go buy.
dollars.
It is worth a 4-figure sum, and not a substantial 4-figure sum.
Exactly. This is worth dollars that can fit in your pocket.
Yeah, yeah. So what do I do with an '84 Corvette?
This is hard.
I want to go last.
And
but
Paul wouldn't be upset with anything I do with it at all, except maybe to sell it, like, because I don't think that's right.
Right.
But anything else, like if we could lemons it.
I have an idea.
We could track day it. We could just drive it around. I could get some jorts and some New Balance and ask how you like
Polish
your Corvette.
it.
Jeff and I can go stand around and look at our Corvettes and go, "Hey, you like your Corvette? Yeah, I like my Corvette."
Mine is only one
launchers
of
in the hatch.
2,000 that have
Absolutely.
that color and that
Yeah.
interior and that radio.
Yeah. All right. Here's the thing. If this was 6 years ago, lemons would probably be the answer, but the C4s have been done. They've been done really interestingly. They've been done really badly. You're not
And
breaking
they're
in.
all so terrible. They're
Five
kind of
point-
5.7 liters of failure.
I
It gives
think
me
I think the
pause.
best one was the diesel swap one that was it Anton or Spank?
Spank.
Spank,
I drove
yeah.
that car.
Barbie
That
Corvette.
gasket was blown. It was great. We had a,
Yeah,
we had a
and I
bottle
think that was actually
on
the
dash.
most successful one ever
Yeah.
that has been. So Jeff hit it. Jeff hit it right on the nose. That is the king of Radwood. It's never going to be a track toy. It's not even going to be that good of a track toy. And you guys don't need a track toy because you have like 4 much better options.
We have no track cars right now, by the way.
No track, no race cars. But
No track cars.
the Mazda
yet.
3 would be a better
Mazda?
track car. The Mazda 3 would be a better track car
Sees the
than
new
this Corvette.
injectors.
Which I have.
Right.
Yeah.
The NSX is a better track car than this. So it's never going to be cool. This is the Radwood car. So I think Lemons is out. If it was an automatic, put a brick on it and take money to see when it blows up kind of a deal. But the Doug Nash makes it not collectible. I'm not going to lie about that. It makes it interesting.
I
More-
agree.
It has a story, and you guys know what a sucker I am for things with stories. Just honestly, among the many things I love about my current car is it has a story, and I get to tell that story when I flip down the visor and there's my little One Lap of America thing. So that is a great Radwood car. I recognize that your current challenge is you have no place to put it. So if and when the Citroën sells,
check that sucker off. That was
I didn't feel like
horrible.
I didn't feel like scrolling up.
Scrolling up to see the phonetics.
Like, I didn't want to work. I didn't want to work that hard.
Okay, can I go now? Because I have the right.
No,
answer.
I'm not done.
Oh.
I just mispronounced a word. So keep it and do it on Radwood there. And if you don't have space or you don't want it, or you just need it to be someplace where it will not be neglected, I'm sincere. I have lots of storage and no rust, and I will pay to have that car shipped out here. And then when you guys come visit California, when you come out for a Lucky Dog race, instead of flying into LA, fly into Vegas. It'll be there waiting, polished, ready to go, detailed. It will not be a fast drive to Los Angeles, but you take the Targa off and it'll be a fun one driving down the Pacific Coast Highway.
All right. Now can
I really got to get rid of the Citroen. But anyway.
Now can I say the right answer?
When you get rid of it, we send the Corvette back to Pennsylvania.
This is not the right answer, by the way. This is the let Rome burn answer. 2 words for you: vet fucking cart. We have a tubing vendor and we have a Sawzall, and man, we could make this thing many 100 pounds lighter and way cooler, and 205 horsepower would not kill us as fast as anything else.
I've always wondered, what do you do with, I see these carts, like the vet carts and Miata carts and stuff. What do you do with them once you have them?
Drive them to the beach.
No one's going to let you drive on track with them. No one's going to let you can't race it. You can't, driving on the street, kind of barely. Okay.
For those of you who don't know, they're basically turning a normal car into like an Ariel Atom.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah. Cletus McFarlane has a twin turbo one.
Yes,
I genuinely think it all started with Roadkill, and then they just got worse and worse and worse with it, and it kind of started a trend that I think Mike Finnegan has said he regrets, because there's been some good vets that have died. But I know, Google vet cart, it'll come up.
Mm-hmm.
Chrissy has an interesting idea.
Chrissy has not weighed in on this topic at all.
I've not at all. I have a very also bad idea.
Because you just found out now that you're being offered a C4, or because you held your opinion?
I held my opinion.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, we don't talk to each other, really. I know.
Right there.
I do, except
I'm 9 inches from each other.
Literally 9 inches. I was in meetings all day.
Chrissy works hard.
Dude, I was in meetings all day. And I bought what? Okay, anyway. Demo derby.
Oh, I feel like that'd be sad.
Oh.
Okay.
And it would just go under everything. Yeah.
Oh, it'd be a good wedge. It's a spatula. I mean, we have it locally. That's the only reason why I was thinking that we could have fun with it.
It's fiberglass. It's not going to be
It wouldn't demo well. No, that'd be pretty bad.
Oh,
I knew you would.
It would demo excellent. It would.
I knew you would turn me down.
Derby.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe if you're not willing to vet,
I don't want to destroy it. Essentially, like,
why not? Safari built. No, Menzel is shaking his head no, like a wiener dog. He's like, hey, that's terrible idea, boss.
Pre-runner vet.
All of these would be awesome if it wasn't a Doug Nash, which again doesn't make it collectible, but it makes it interesting. If it was a slush box, yeah.
I think you would drive it more if it was fun. And I think customizing
it's fun in its own way, but it's not like
I think customizing it makes it more fun.
It can, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
All right, there it is. Paul, I'm very sorry to hear that your family has decided not to attend the car show on Saturday in their jorts and sneakers.
If you only knew this family.
Oh, his dad still has his dad has a C7 still.
Oh,
so
great.
Okay.
There you go. Because as we know, Corvettes are rarely bought and rarely sold and rarely left.
So if you have a good idea for the C4 Corvette that does not involve destroying it, post something up on one of our face twat gram things. Or in the doodly doo.
Post it in the doodly doo.
Sure.
Down there in the doodly doo. Just go ahead and write it. What are we doing next week?
Seats Part 2. We talked about it a lot.
Yep.
Remember?
I know. That's what we do here. I say, what do we do? And somebody says something. Thank you for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We'll also hope you will join us in the world of driving, racing, and building, because everyone can be a racer, even you. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It's totally free. Then go to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. Even if you hated us, give us 5 stars and tell us why. If you have any questions or show ideas or a link to a rooftop tent that will fit a C4, comment on our Facebook
with a glass
page.
Roof.
That's right. Comment on our Facebook page, Everyone Racers, or email us at everyone.racers@gmail.com, or text mental 484-243-0455.
You guys all signed off at the end of the Lemons broadcast. Hamza told everyone to text me with pictures of their junk. And I got pictures of an old Dodge RV that had been converted to a flatbed with a wrecked race car on there, and it was awesome.
Oh my god,
loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Send the pictures of the junky cars. I didn't see that. I have to make sure that it's still connected. Find us on Instagram or Twitter at everyone.racers. Thanks again, and until next week, keep the shiny side up. Unless the fiberglass is faded, then just keep those wheels down.